One. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers Podcast. With me today is Adriana. Adriana is an intuitive women's coach specializing in shadow work, wound healing, and feminine energy. It's such an honor to have you on, Adriana. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and it's been a long time coming. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm super stoked. We have so much awesome topics to talk about. So the things we may cover, you guys know how this goes. Sometimes we don't get to everything, but we'll talk about Adriana's awakening journey, conscious relationship, embodying the divine feminine, shadow work, somatic healing, conscious rewiring, and human design. So I'm these are some juicy topics and I'm really excited. So Adriana, would you be open to sharing how your awakening journey started for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love this topic. So, I feel like so many of us, it really came out of a dark night of the soul, right?
Mhm.
Where you're at that, that darkest place, that lowest level of your life. And really, I remember asking myself, is this all there is to life? Right? And that was the scariest question I have ever faced in my life.
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of us know how this feels. Is
Mhm.
this all that there is to life? I remember asking my grandma, I'd have to call her every couple days because I had so much anxiety. I just needed to talk to somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I asked her, is this all there is? And I don't remember her answer. I was probably too anxious to even feel into what she had to say, but that's the moment I knew. I was like, okay, something is wrong here,
Mhm.
right? I am made for something more than this. This can't be all there is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was with one of my first partners. We were living together, and it was just such a dark time for me. We had a lot going on in our relationship. This is before I did a lot of healing, right? So
Yeah.
going through a lot of my own triggers with him and living in a place where I had no friends, no community. We had just moved there.
Mhm.
And I feel like I was just questioning everything in my reality, like who I was, what I had learned, where I came from, what I was even doing with my life. I was so far disconnected from my purpose, and and I never truly knew who I was. So
Mhm.
it just all came, quickly at me. Like you have to start figuring this out. And I was actually experiencing panic attacks at the time, right? Because
Mhm.
it's like this huge breakthrough and it's like being in this dark tunnel, right, without being able to see anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, daily I was struggling with anxiety and panic attacks, and I finally just sat with myself, and I remember I started to pray. And
Mm.
at this point in time, I didn't really know my beliefs, right? I didn't really know my beliefs about God. We weren't raised religious or anything like that. We had gone to church a little bit in my childhood when we lived in the South. We actually lived in Missouri for a few years.
Okay.
Southern Baptist Church, yeah. And my mom had her beliefs in Jesus and that kind of a thing. So I remember being a little girl, and she used to actually sing this song to me, Jesus Loves Me. I don't know if you've
Mm.
heard that song before.
I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just such a safe place for me, right? She would sing it to me when I had like a tummy ache and all the things, right? So
Mhm.
in this moment of panic in the dark night of my soul, I went to a place where I felt safe with my inner child, right? And I started to sing that song to myself. And then
Mhm.
I started to kind of get into a meditation or prayer, right? And I asked whatever God was, whatever the universe was, please help me, help me through this because I don't know what else to do at this point. And yeah, I was really saved in that moment, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever the force is, right? Really, really heard me. And in that moment, I developed a sacred connection with what I believe to be God and my spirit guides. And it was just a matter of days, maybe even the next day, I started to see angel numbers in the middle of the night. I'm sure you've had this experience. A lot of us have had this experience, right? These
Yeah.
angel numbers popping up, especially at the beginning of our awakening,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so middle of the night, I would see triple threes, or like
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was scared at this point because I didn't understand any of this stuff. I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, I'm being haunted, right? Because
That's a normal reaction. Yeah, for sure.
I'm in the dark night of the soul. I'm like paranoid about everything. I'm completely in survival mode. I
Hmm.
start seeing these numbers and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm being haunted, right? So
Right.
I get creeped out enough to where, and I had forgotten about, the prayer and everything else. I was just still in my survival. And I started to research what these numbers meant because I was so afraid of why they were showing up for me.
Hmm.
And then I discovered angel numbers, right? And I discovered spirit guides and our guides, and that I wasn't alone in the world and what these messages could actually mean for me. And it was the moment that I was like awakened. I felt like, wow, I've been heard.
Hmm.
Right? There's
Hmm.
somebody out there who hears me and is looking after me. Like there is something bigger here. This is what maybe I've been looking for.
Hmm.
So in that, yeah, I did some research and I started to learn more about angels and spirit guides and some religious beliefs. I started reading textbooks about like Buddha and just getting into different things. I started doing yoga and
Hmm.
it really helped me in my anxiety, right? Because I was moving and transmuting the energy. So yeah, yoga saved me. I was really into that for a while. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yoga's a big one for people. It just there's so much more to it than just what people perceive it as stretching. It's so much more than that.
Yeah, 100%. And I would notice that at the time I didn't know what this was, right? But I would really notice that I felt just at peace afterwards, that I felt empowered, right? And I felt aligned. At the moment,
Hmm.
I just thought, oh, well, this feels really good. And I'm not having panic attacks. So let me keep doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, yoga was amazing. I started to meditate. I read my first book on consciousness and I was like, oh my gosh, what is consciousness? It was kind of just this snowball. And I was really coming out of that dark night of the soul and I was healing and I was growing and starting to kind of become who I was, or at least trying to figure out who I was. And as you're growing, naturally you outgrow certain relationships, right? So
Yeah.
my relationship had failed, which was very, very painful for me. Um, but it actually led me back home with my family on our property in Nevada. And, I stayed with my mom and my dad for some time. And then, yeah, I was introduced to Sundance and, was learning more about my relationship with God and, got invested into prayer. And I did heart chakra healing in Bali and like all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
It just started coming. And, each moment was just an awakening, an opening of the heart.
Hmm.
And I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I was made for. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? Like, this is
Yeah.
what it's about. So, yeah, it's been a journey, right? And now I'm a woman who's deeply rooted in prayer and has a really divine connection with God and my spirit guides. And it's everything to me. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it unfolded for me.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. So, um, what is your, can you share a little bit about like what your daily practice is in terms of what you do on a regular basis to kind of, maintain your energetic hygiene, as I like to call it?
Oh yeah, I love that. Such a great question. Okay, morning starts with prayer right away. I'm just like, okay, I go right into what I'm grateful for, right? What my intentions are for the day, even if I'm just half asleep, still cuddled in bed, whatever.
Uh-huh.
That's top priority for me. I always tune into how I'm feeling. I do, I don't know if you're into this, but I actually just started doing a tongue scraping ritual.
Oh yeah.
A little
Yeah. I do it
Ayurvedic.
every day, twice a
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So setting an intention with that, right? Just
Mhm.
getting rid of any heavy bad energy. I'm kind of learning a bit more about that. And then tuning into how I feel, really. It's nothing crazy. Like I don't meditate every morning at 5 a.m. I just tune into my heart and I'm like, what do I need today? What does my
Mhm.
body want? Am I feeling hydrated? Do I need some breath work to get myself going? I
Mhm.
love doing some breath work in the morning. And yeah, throughout my day, as I work with clients or I go out, like I'm definitely cleansing up my energy. I'm using the eagle feather,
Mm-hmm.
little energy sweep, right? These are,
Mm-hmm.
um, they have the eagle replica feathers you can buy at like a lot of places. And this is like such a great spiritual practice or such a great cleansing practice for any of those who are listening. They're pretty cheap. And yeah, you just swipe it through like a hairbrush and just get rid of all of the weight or any kind of entities or anything you've picked up throughout the day. I would recommend that all the way. So yeah, using the feather and the sage and the breath work, and then also playing my instruments is just an amazing thing for me to do, especially after a really heavy day. I like to just hop on my flute or my ukulele, which I just started getting more into again.
Nice.
Yeah, just to kind of transmute that energy. Also, moving my body, just doing sensual dance to tap into my feminine,
Mm-hmm.
going to the gym to just kind of get rid of some of the energy, right? Which is
Yeah.
really good. And yeah, setting an intention. I pray with my crystals at the end of the day, right? I have different ones for different things.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Just kind of the prayer and then closing my day. I always address the four directions in my prayers, right? Call them in and just give thanks for everything that for the gift of life, really, and everything that transpired that day, whether I felt like it was good or bad. So,
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, and in terms of the crystals that you work with, can you speak on that a little bit? Like which ones, like for people maybe that aren't so familiar with crystals, can you talk a little bit about which ones and how you work with them? Because there's so many ways to work with crystals, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I keep it pretty simple. Like if I'm feeling ungrounded, there is a crystal called well, there's black onyx or onyx and black tourmaline, which I'm sure you know of. Okay,
Mhm.
super grounding. I have like a big fat one that like I keep in my bed with me. I
Nice.
feel like I need it. It's super helpful to put that one, like at the base of your root chakra or like below your feet. I usually sleep with it around my root chakra if I need to.
Hmm.
I was gifted a crystal by my spiritual coach, and I can't remember the name of it. It's a white crystal, it was something that looked like a selenite. I can't remember, but he called it an angel stone. So,
Oh, cool.
that I pray with because it's supposed to help you kind of connect to your guides on a deeper level.
Hmm.
Amethyst, always if I'm feeling a little bit revved up from the day or if I'm having any kind of anxiety or worry,
Hmm.
I'll pray with the amethyst. Or, if you're not into prayer, it's just a beautiful thing to have a crystal, place it on your heart, and then take deep breaths, sending it in through, your palm to into your heart, right? Kind of a thing, depending on where you need the healing.
Hmm.
Um, Really just breathing with crystals into the chakras wherever you need it, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Supportive. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It made me think about when I was in university. I like found a chakra stone for each one of my seven chakras, and I actually put it underneath my mattress, like in between the bed pad and the floor, and it had an effect. It had an effect. Like I woke up and I had like all kinds of energy, and that was really powerful. I did that for a little bit. There's so many ways to work with crystals, you know. Like for me, I just like I just like to connect with them as soon as I get it. I like to clear it out with Reiki or with intention or with sage, and then I'll, like you said, I like to bring it up to my heart and like send love into it and just connect with it and set intentions for it. You know, like certain ones are really good for protection. Other ones, like you said, are really good for grounding. Other ones are really good for like opening the heart or like cleansing energy. Selenite's a really good one for that. Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool ways. It's so interesting being back here in Pennsylvania because I live in Nevada right now, and and so uh, being out here, getting away from the heat a little bit, it's been it's been really nice. And when I first started my awakening, it was here, and so I came back here to write my book and to finish editing it and everything. And one of the things that I did when the awakening started back like 12 years ago or whatnot, was that I started calling in all my crystals from around the world. So I would go on eBay and I would get like intuitive hits and meditation and things like that. And then I would like call them from Argentina or from Egypt or wherever. And then they all came and I was like, okay, welcome back, guys. And then and then eventually I just like released that attachment to them, and they just spread back out to whoever they needed to go to. So yeah, the way it's so cool how crystals just come, and then when they're ready, they'll like mysteriously be misplaced or fall out of your pocket or pop out of the ring that you're wearing. It's really, they definitely have like a spirit, and they know when they've done their work with you.
Absolutely right. Or you feel called to gift them. It's beautiful. I love that you brought this up because yeah, the way that they're passed around the world is so beautiful. And on this topic, you sent me a couple of crystals that I was able
Yeah.
to share with my mom, and that was such a beautiful experience. And I have one of them right by my bed. So
Oh, amazing.
yes, and I love that you brought up selenite, right? I forgot to mention that a selenite wand for anyone getting into crystals. This is like the best, easiest tool you can use just to kind of clear your energy and cut cords, moving it horizontally through your body or creating kind of an orb around your aura. Selenite is the best for that. So yeah, I love that you brought this up, and the seven chakra alignment. Hell yes, right? Um,
Hmm.
I love this. There are free resources online to look at a chakra chart and see which stones work with what.
Hmm.
Um, and also, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but Super Seven. Have you ever heard of
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Super 7. I love Super 7.
there we go. So, my spiritual coach actually gifted me one, and he's
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, you should use it in your bath with your essential oils and all this stuff." He's like, "You'll
Nice.
feel
I
so
think
much."
it's seven different crystals in it, right? Amethyst is in it. It's more of like a purple stone, right?
Yeah, it's like a purple and white crystal. And I don't actually know what's in it. I just know he told me, he goes, this is going to align all your chakras right away, and it's all you need.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, I wanted to.
Do you feel a difference when you take a bath with it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
when I take a bath with any crystal, I'm feeling the difference. And I'm
Hmm.
I'm also highly sensitive to this, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, especially the Super 7. I've never felt anything like it.
Okay. Have you ever worked with Moldavite?
I feel like maybe my coach has. What color is it?
It's green.
Ooh, I'm not sure. We've used
Mold, yeah, it's like so Moldavite is a crystal that gets formed when a meteor hits the Earth, and it's mostly found around Siberia. And when you wear it or when you hold it for the first time, it's been like the majority of people, even if you're not sensitive to energy or crystals, will feel like a sensation. So it's like a warmth in your hands, and then it'll travel to your heart. And it's really amazing because the first time I held one, it was like that feeling of like, okay, this crystal and I are exchanging energy, and we're actually like there was a feeling of true like connection, because with other crystals I've rarely felt that. And but with moldavite in particular, because it's so powerful, it's not for beginners. But it's definitely a crystal that I really enjoy working with, because it is like that connection to the astral planes and to your guides out, further out you know
Oh, yeah. I know he's mentioned this crystal, but I will ask him about it for sure. Yeah, so I feel like I need to share this, but he actually owns a crystal shop here in Vancouver. And
Okay.
yeah, he's the one who's got me like into all this and who gives me all these amazing crystals. And
Nice.
yeah, I just feel like I need to share this with everyone because no matter where you live in the world, you can visit their website. Just look up Celestial Awakenings in Vancouver, and they have some tools for evolution. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I feel like you would. Just knowing the crystals that you work with. Here's an example. I'm wearing one. This is actually rose quartz tool for evolution.
Nice.
I think this is a radiant heart. I forget the name, or conscious flower. I can't remember, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because, yeah, these crystals are alive. They call to you, they change your frequency, they change your cells. They can help you with so many different things. And yeah, I would recommend these all day. So Celestial Awakenings in Vancouver, I think you would love them. It's
Nice. I love it.
yeah, they've changed my life.
Amazing. Yeah, that one's really beautiful for the people that are listening. I think it's got like sterling silver around it.
Yeah, yeah, it looks
Cool.
like a flower.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, so I think yeah, we could talk about crystals all day, but we might circle back around to it. We might circle back around to it. We'll see how the conversation goes, but I'm really curious. You know, you mentioned you had anxiety and panic attacks in the beginning. So, what were some tools and things that really helped you move through that? And I know you mentioned you work with some crystals now and with music and things like that. But and during that time, especially in the beginning, what was some of the things that really helped you move through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, getting outdoors in any way possible, I would just go on walks throughout my neighborhood. Like it wasn't anything special. I was just like, I need to go out and walk. I needed fresh air and I needed to be outside and I needed to get my feet in the grass, right? And at this
Yep.
time, I didn't know anything about grounding, but yes, for anyone listening who's struggling with anxiety, getting your bare feet in the grass or allowing yourself to lay on the earth changes everything, right? It's so instantly calming. It's like a hug. And so I would really depend on those daily walks. So I started letting the light into our apartment and I started to go on the walks, let in the fresh air. I started to do yoga practice, right? Even if I was really low energy or I was in the middle of having anxiety, I would just lay on my mat and just stretch my back and just kind of tune into my body, right?
Hmm.
So giving yourself like a self hug and feeling into like your arms with your palms and your legs and connecting back to your body. Like it helps you get into your body, right?
Hmm.
Also like certain tapping movements, you know, we can look those up online, but like tapping right below your collarbone just helps you get back in your body. And another thing I recommend to my clients is you know, I call it like butterfly hands. You put your hands over your heart and you just come back to your center and take a deep breath,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Because when we're anxious, we're out of our body, right? And we have to get back into it. So as simple as it sounds, and I'm sure a lot of us have heard this, but naming one thing you see, you feel, you hear, right? Coming back to the room, like reorienting yourself
Hmm.
is all super helpful. So for me, it was just how can I get into my body and be present? That's what really helped me.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I love all those tools that you mentioned. They're all really effective. And yeah, one of the things that during my awakening was like I had to be outside barefoot every day. Like it was essential. And there's like a heightened sensitivity that starts developing for some people during their awakening. And for me, it was just really important to ground, and like connect to the earth. And I've found other tools that help me do that now. Like I work with hape, which is like a tobacco snuff, which is super grounding and gets me out of my mind, like during the moment of a trigger or any type of anxiety. If I sometimes I notice that I become like a vessel for energy. And so
Yeah.
I'll pick up energy if I go to the grocery store. And so the hape will help me cleanse and purge all that out. And I do use the tapping tools that you were mentioning, but I do it like from my feet all the way up to my throat and out and up my arms. And it's really powerful. It's but I mean just the tapping alone is really great and the grounding. And there's a lot of different ways to ground. Like I started doing Epsom salt baths.
Yeah.
Those were super grounding for me. I really liked going in the ocean when I lived in San Diego. That was super cleansing and grounding. Yoga was really good at moving that energy all out. And then for anxiety in particular, Reiki was really powerful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. When I was going through it, I didn't even know what Reiki was, right?
Oh yeah.
But I will say Reiki changed my entire life, right? It was the one healing modality that got to, the root of my wounding and helped me heal, right? I owe that all to my shaman. Reiki is such a powerful tool for anyone looking to free themselves from, heaviness or anything that's holding them down, to heal certain woundings. Yeah, to overcome anxiety. I love that you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah, because with Reiki, I didn't know Reiki when I had my awakening either, but it was the first modality that I found. And it was amazing because it empowered me so much because I was like, hey, you're telling me that I can be anywhere in the world and in any circumstance, and I can just tune in and use my hands on my body to calm my nervous system, to send loving energy back from Creator, from the universe into my body. And my teacher was like, yep. And I was like, all right, I'm in. And it was just so cool because when I first got attuned, which is part of the process, right, where they open your crown chakra and the master puts their hands on your head and does a ceremony to bring the Reiki into your body. it was so it was so profound because there was like six people in my class that were all sitting like all next to each other, right? And I was the last one in line, and we were all in little chairs, and we went into a deep meditation. And my teacher, as soon as she first started tuning the first student, even though my eyes were closed, I started seeing all these symbols in my mind, in my third eye. It was like a neon bright blue, all these like symbols. And I was like, this is really interesting. And as I went on to become a master, in a Reiki master, level 3 practitioner and instructor, I learned that those symbols were actually the symbols that I was going to learn in those later levels. So yeah, it was really cool that it was like my first really spiritual experience, like where it was like, okay, there's something definitely more than this 3D world that I've been so used to.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Absolutely. Life changing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, being able to do Reiki on yourself, and something came to my mind when you mentioned that as well. And like guided meditations like help me so much because I'm such
Mhm.
a visual person. So any kind of visual, where you're calming your nervous system or you're aligning your chakras or just bringing in good, loving light, into your body, something as simple as that, game changer.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Do you have any offhand that you remember, like the names of for the guided meditations?
No, I mean, it's just kind of been a random thing, but like if we just look up nervous system regulation, right, or calming your nervous system, there are so many out
So
there.
many. There's so many. Yeah, my favorite one is Awakened Mind 1 and Awakened Mind 2. It was actually in the Penn State Library when I was at Penn State. There was like a little meditation corner, and I was like, this is so cool. They're like so far ahead.
Yeah.
And they had these headphones with an iPad, and that was on there. And it was, I guess, scientifically, all these scientific studies that this doctor did with theta brainwave and the different brainwaves for meditation, and he would incorporate like different bird songs and different things that like really made the listener go into that theta state, into that meditative state. And that was the first time that I was able to astral project
Wow.
when I was listening to that in the library. It was really profound. So I was able to like leave, my spirit was able to leave and experience something somewhere else. At the time, I visited one of my ex-partners and was able to like see what she was doing. And I had to, with everything, there's permission, right? Like I had to ask her permission in that space. Like, is it okay if I like tune into what you're doing? And she said yes. And then later on, I remember asking her like, were you playing with a kitten like at this time? And she was like, yep.
Yeah,
And so like that stuff is undeniable, like once it starts happening, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Awakened Mind one and a make Awakened Mind two. And yeah, those are some really good tools. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can yeah, do you have any other ones offhand that you can think of?
No, nothing in particular. I kind of
Okay.
just always look for something new, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the ones that are my favorites are always the ones that have to do with water, right? So like
Mm,
kind of visual where you're like putting waves over yourself or you're going on a journey, right? You're going on
mhm,
a journey someplace else and then you're using your imagination to, change certain things in your life or take what you need. Like those shamanic journeys have been so helpful for me. So
for sure. For sure. Beautiful. So, um, I know that your father was Native American, right? Which tribe was he part of?
So him and I are both part of the Round Valley Indian tribe up in Northern California.
Amazing, amazing. And you mentioned before the call that you would join him sometimes in Sundance. Was he a Sundancer?
He was, yeah, and then he became a spiritual leader in the ceremonies. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
alongside Gerald Bear, a great family friend of ours. And yeah, the Sundance ceremonies, just so full of sacred, rich culture that I feel like is so undervalued in today's society, right? It's
Mm,
overlooked. And the truth is not a lot of us know like the sanctity of ceremony and of ritual and of prayer and those kind of things.
mhm.
But yeah, so Sundance ceremony. It happens all over the world, right? There are different Sundance ceremonies that happen. We were blessed enough to be able to host the Sundance ceremony on our property for
Oh, wow.
almost 10 years. Yeah, our property actually in northern Nevada. So I'm not sure where you lived in Nevada, but it was kind of near Carson City, like on the outskirts.
Okay. Okay. I'm in Las Vegas right now.
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, quite a ways away, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in Nevada, in the outskirts, high desert. So a very beautiful place, right? It was up a dirt road, like a 7 mile dirt road. Everybody would journey up there. And for about 7 days or so, we would set up camp. We had a community kitchen, and really the time is to just be in prayer, right? And connect with spirit and all the healing that is happening. And so basically just a little insight to what it kind of looks like. And you know this because you've been in a Sundance ceremony. I know that they're all different, but really it's to honor the tree of life,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
offer all of your prayers into that tree to allow blessings to come to fruition throughout the year and to support our dancers. So like you said, was he a dancer in the ceremony? Absolutely. And we had so many beautiful dancers who would come out and make sacrifices for the people, for our healing and for our prayers. So I've never seen anything more rooted in community and in the oneness and wholeness of the human experience, right? By
Absolutely.
bringing spirit along. So it was very sacred to be a part of those ceremonies. I'm so honored. And yeah, my dad's legacy will always live on, right? For all of the people that he healed and for everybody listening. He did pass away a few years ago, but his work lives on, right? It lives on in
Hmm.
all of us, especially in my own heart, as well as my family and all the people that he touched. So,
Yeah, that's really beautiful. That's so you've been going since you were 20, 21?
yeah, it was around that time I had my spiritual awakening. I think it was just a year after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's so awesome. So can you share, are you open to sharing, and you don't have to, but are you open to sharing any spiritual experiences that you personally witnessed or that you experienced through, because when you're in that, it's like a portal and there's so much magic and healing and all kinds of things that happen for people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start, right? Because there were years of so much healing that happened. But I think for me this time, I received so much healing, obviously from spirit and so much support and so many emotions come to the surface, right? For you to dance out or to cry out or whatever it is, to be transmuted, and taken, I guess, taken by spirit someplace else to kind of unburden us and heal. But you know what happened for me a lot was my psychic insights and like my intuitive ability started to grow during this time. So at each
Okay.
I would have a series of visions throughout the entire process.
Oh,
And
wow.
really, while you're in it, you don't even know, I didn't even know a lot of what any of it meant, right? Or what was happening to me. But it was kind of an initiation into being highly intuitive and having psychic abilities where I would have visions. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, my visions were immense. In the ceremony, there is a place called Moon Camp where women go when they're on their sacred bleed. So
Hmm.
it's a separate area, right? And it seemed like every year I would have to go to the Moon Camp for half the time or almost the whole time. And I would tell my dad, I'm like, I don't want to. I want to be with you guys. I want to
Right.
while and he
Yeah.
told me, he goes, you Moon Camp needs you to be there, right?
Mm.
Bring in a certain power and hold space, and you're going to get the visions, and you're going to help people from there. Like we need your energy there. So trust
Mm.
that. And every time I would be at Moon Camp, I would have these amazing visions. And one that I have to share because it's coming to me was the coolest experience. I was laying there on the ground at Moon Camp in the shade, and my eyes were shut, and I was seeing all kinds of visions. And now this was when my dad was attached to the tree, right? So, and it was also a part of, and I forget now, but eagle dance, or I forget what it was, something to do with like the eagle vision. And I didn't know that. We were all the way over in Moon Camp. And in my vision, I saw this massive eagle, like just spreading out its wings and like all of this healing power touching all of us there on the ceremony that day.
Wow.
And I ended up sharing it with my mom later, and she goes, okay, when was that? Because, and then we figured out it was when dad was on the tree for the eagle ceremony. So, anyway,
Wow.
really getting the visions and awakening that. And so now, I have the gift of a vision with certain things, and it helps me guide my clients and guide my life and the people that I love. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really, I mean, was that, did you notice that that kind of started coming back online when you started going, or were you having visions when you were a little kid too?
Great question. Yeah, I haven't actually talked about this. I actually had visions when I was a young child as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought so. I had a feeling.
Yeah, and at the time, all the kids are like, "You're weird," and your mom thinks you're making things up or whatever. So you never really get to get in practice. I mean, I didn't get to get in practice with my spiritual gifts, but yeah, I would see things before they happened, or I would
Hmm.
see it in a different way. I would see a symbol of something and it meant something, kind of like I do now, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it just kind of went away with age. You know what I mean? I didn't have that throughout my childhood or up until I was, around this time of Sundance when I was maybe around 22. It
Hmm.
started to come back slowly through the ceremonies.
Yeah, it's really interesting how I believe our soul kind of chooses when we like fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
And I remember for me it was like around sixth grade. My soul was just kind of like, all right, the world that I was in, like my little bubble, my world where there was spirits knocking on the inside of my wall at night, and like I was seeing all kinds of um, like ghosts and people that had crossed over, and I would have dreams. I remember where um, this like there was one dream in particular, like I was downstairs in my parents' room in the dream, and I heard upstairs where I lived this like loud running, and then down the stairs, and it stopped in front of the door in the dream, the room that I was in my parents' room. And I opened the door, and then there's this little blonde girl just standing there. And I remember like I opened the door and I saw her, and then I just woke up, and then I saw her standing in the on the corner of my room. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is intense, you know? Like, I didn't have any teachers, I didn't have anybody in my circle or in my life or my parents' life that could explain anything to me or any of that. So I just kind of I shut it down. And I remember the movie The Sixth Sense. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. I remember watching it, but I can't remember what actually happened in it.
It was I think Mel Gibson and the little boy uh, could see ghosts,
Mm.
and so he would that like famous quote where he says, "I see dead people,"
Oh,
and
right.
so to me that was like real life, you know. And I remember I couldn't sleep in my room for like 6 months after I watched that movie, and that was like the point where I was like, okay, I'm shutting it down for a while. And also, it was like my soul wanting to experience what, the mainstream society does so that I could relate and help guide people and help people come out of that and show them like there's another way. I've been there and I can relate. I've, done the whole drinking thing and the partying and it's like, and there's another way, you know?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Did you have anything like that happen where you remember like there was a distinct moment when it kind of started to shift?
I feel like it may have been around fifth or sixth grade. It was kind of a similar situation. Yeah, because you're kind of in your bubble. For me, it was just, you get into sixth grade and like, there's a whole new, it's like a whole new world. I went to a new school, you want to fit in and that kind of a thing. And you get caught up with that. You get caught up with little things like that, matters to sixth graders.
Right.
I think I think it just kind of went away. You know what I mean? Like I kind of just stopped for a while. I don't remember like a certain moment where it did, but I think
Hmm.
I redirected my focus maybe. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it brings up the topic of visions for me because I've been doing Vision Quest, which is you go out into the woods with a sponsor, which is like an elder that watches over you energetically and comes out and sages you. And it's like your body is on top of an altar. You build an altar out of sage and you put the four direction flags that you make out of willow branches and you create like the elder creates like a bubble of protection around you, and the sage actually is shown scientifically to protect from bugs and snakes. Like they just don't like to get close to it. So, uh, yeah, this was my first year where I actually had a vision, like a physical vision where it was eyes open. And I was having visions like in dream time leading up to it for probably like 3 or 4 weeks. But on the actual vision quest, it was my first year where I could see the visions with my eyes open. And that was really profound and different. And my spiritual name is Chandra Gyan, which means the one of the moon that brings universal wisdom. And so the moon, it was a full moon the night I was out. And the moon was actually amplifying the vision. So you're not eating, you're not drinking, right? So your body is like, you go into more of the spirit realm. And so as I'm in that space, I'm like laying there looking up at the trees, and then the leaves would start to form into these visions, and then the moonlight would like amplify it, and then the white around the vision would get like more and more detailed, and it was really powerful. I saw the like a giant buffalo head, and I saw a few things that were kind of random that were there to like remind me that it's not so serious, you know? Like I saw this dog that had like a mohawk, and and I was like, he was like a punk rock dog, you know? Then I saw like a big King Kong that was wearing like a bow tie or something, and like it was just really interesting. So there was many different visions that I saw. Some of them I won't share on the podcast, but because I'm still processing them. But It was really cool to see how the moon and the trees can work together to create these visions. And every year is different for the vision quest for me, and it's been really powerful. Have you had a chance to experience that yet?
No, not in the Vision Quest. No, I've never.
Okay.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's you do for our camp we do a commitment of 4 years. So, every direction, north, south, east, west, and we start in the east and then move to the north and then west and or maybe I said that wrong. No, we start in the west, then we go north, then east, then south. So right now I'm working with the east. So it's really powerful. Every year has a really powerful different lesson, and yeah, it's pretty profound.
Yeah.
Pretty
And what's beautiful is you get your answer right when you're meant to, right? In the divine timing you're meant to. Like you said, you're still processing through certain ones.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. It's an unfolding. I'm still unraveling my first year too. It's like I'm not sure what these things meant or why that happened, and yeah, it sometimes it's kind of like a psychedelic journey, right? Where it's like you'll have these experiences, you'll see certain things, and then it may not become really clear and integrated until many, many years down the road.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for sharing some of your journey. I think it's amazing that you've been a part of that, right? My dad was as well as so many of my friends and family. So, yeah, incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it's I feel super blessed to be able to partake in that and to be walking these ways because when I was younger, I've always been super connected to nature. And it's like this is my favorite way to pray in the sweat lodge and on the earth, and it's just there's nothing quite like it. Being in a building and praying just there's a beauty to that too, but this just feels more aligned for me personally because I'm so connected to nature.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'd love to hear a little bit about what you do for work, and I know you work with women and shadow work. So can let's start with that. Let's start with shadow work. Like, what is that for people that don't know what it is? And how have you, if you want to share any of your personal experiences with it, and then maybe any tools or ways that you've helped others with it?
Wow, just to put it simply, I mean, or what it looks like for the work I do with women is it's really just facing the parts of yourself that you've denied, right? That need your love and that need your healing, the pieces of yourself that you're shameful of, right? That you're holding shame towards, and that you're afraid to face, right? A lot of us, right? We've all been there. Like, what is my responsibility in what I have created,
Hmm.
right? So really in the work I do is that's where we go. Like, we go into some of their deepest woundings and then we go into what was created by that. Like, what kind of shame are you holding on to? What is your actual fear here? What are you afraid to face or see in yourself, right? Or to heal in yourself?
Hmm.
Um, what is your responsibility in what you've created in your life, right? Because we are responsible for these things, right? It's our responsibility. What happened to us is not our fault, but it's our responsibility to do the work to heal that, right?
Absolutely.
We just have very honest conversations about, certain things like that. Like, let's go to the root. Like, let's face it together. Like, I will guide you through this. So we do a lot of like deep like journeying, right? Like certain like shamanic journeying really down to like different depths of their soul. Like, where is this and what does it look like? What are your demons, right? Like,
Hmm.
let's go there. And what's really behind the demon? Like, what's behind the cloak, or like what this version of this fear actually looks like? more often than not, it's a starved inner child, right? It's someone whose needs weren't met. It's where the deepest wounding lives. And what these shadows seem to want is they want love and recognition, right? So we go in and we have conversations with their shadows, right?
Mhm.
And learn how to integrate the pieces that will serve our highest good and then the pieces that no longer align with us or that we no longer need. And we do that by creating safety in the body,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
My clients have to feel safe, or anyone has to feel safe before they can integrate these pieces, right? To know that it's okay to do that. So, yeah, it's such a beautiful journey. I've certainly gone through it, like with my own shaman and my own coaches. Yeah,
Mhm.
into the underworld. Like, what does this look like?
Yeah.
And really, it's just about loving yourself, making the space for new, beautiful things, and yeah, integrating the parts of you that are less desirable, right? Quote unquote, like the pieces that we see as less desirable. This is part of our story. Like it makes us who we are. Like, we shouldn't carry shame about those things. It's really like the bones. It's our bones that, right? It's got us to where we are. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a beautiful journey. It's beautiful work to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think shadow work is one of the most important things that really help people and really are helping the world, because when we shift it inside ourselves, then it shifts in our reality and it shifts in our family lineage, it shifts in our friends, it starts to shift. And if it doesn't, then it just realigns us to other people that are on that path and that are really doing the work. And yeah, I'm curious for how did you like first find shadow work? How did you first get into it? What was that like for you in the beginning?
It was scary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's so scary to go to the depths of your soul in these places. Um, Gosh, I haven't really thought about this in a long time, but I did a lot of work with my shaman, and it was just she guided me to, the depths, right? Like to the darkness of my soul, right? Going into like, well, however you see it, but like I saw it as like, swamplands, right? Like it's dark,
Mm,
scary. Um,
mm-hmm.
you're seeing certain fears, right? And certain or embodiments of fear, like a demon or whatever it is. And you're facing that. And I don't really have too much memory of like the fear of it. It's been so long, but what I do know is you find so much empowerment through that work, right? Like I come out the other side like so empowered, right? Like as this strong woman, like with the shield, who can now protect herself, who's carrying her inner child out of the flames, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, those are like some of the visual experiences I've had. But yeah, it's scary work, but it's also so empowering in the same way, right? Like
Hmm.
this pain comes from that, but it's so empowering at the end of it. Like it's just like going through the dark tunnel to find the light, right? We
Hmm.
will get through it and reach the light. We always do, right?
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of it seems like is stemmed in trauma,
Yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with certain childhood experiences, right? And, like you were saying, that inner child, that little girl or that little boy inside you that is just had a really crazy experience at some point or for an extended period of time, right? And then it's like facing those fears with like the self that you are now, like as an adult, right? Like being like, okay, I got you. Like we're gonna go there, we're gonna experience this, but then we're gonna rewire it and rewrite it, and we're gonna actually like make you feel empowered through that, and instead of just like replaying that program throughout our lives in so many subconscious ways, whether that's through romantic relationships, just regular friendships, or even just people we see in our day to day, like the way we might snap out at somebody that core wounding may be connected to something that happened to us where somebody snapped at us when we were young, whatever it was, like everybody has different experiences, and for sure some people have a lot more to work through than others. And what I'm recognizing lately is that the people that have older souls usually have a more difficult childhood, and they have more to work through because then they can really step into that and like embody that, and then be able to teach that and share that with others from a really like place of truly understanding it.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you brought this up so much because, yeah, I've always considered myself an old soul ever since I was a little girl, right? If you'd meet me, you'd be like, wow, she is like such an old woman inside that little body, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I noticed too, working with women is it's very much the same way. Like my clients who have old souls, and they have a certain level of depth, they have been through the most shit, right? And then within that, they're so motivated to help other people heal from that, right? Children or adults or whatever that looks like. So like you said, yeah, we go through it all to really feel into it and experience it to the fullest so then we could teach it to other people, right? Which is what we do as coaches or healers, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, beautifully said. I agree with you.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. And I'm curious, like in your journey, have you been part of some women's circles?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have
Cool.
here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a sacred sister circle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's full of really, well-seasoned women and they're just full of so much wisdom and we meet out on this sacred property that has these beautiful grandmother stones that the host of the circle gets wisdom from the grandmother stones and brings it into our circle. So it's just
Oh wow.
a good time to share insight and share our experiences as women and with our spirituality and what we're going through. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful experience when women come together, right? Or when men come together.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful experience.
I
So
think it's so important. I think it's so important for women to have that and for men to have that, because in that space it's so different. It's like it's a totally different type of container that is, you know, just totally different. And then there's containers where it's beautiful to bring both together, right? And it's nice for the women to do their work together and the men to do their work together and then come together either in celebration or to do like eye gazing or whatever other deeper work together, right? But I think that in particular, like doing the work in a group with like-minded individuals is really important, because in that space, when the container is sacred and very like when you have people that really know how to hold space, then in that container there's so much healing and expansion and growth that has the potential to happen. And at least that's how it's been for me in men's circles.
yeah, and so much safety. Yeah, so much safety in that. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, any kind of group class or circle I've ever done, it's been some of the most powerful healing. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that you talk a lot about on Instagram and is like embodying the divine feminine, right? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this is like my ultimate purpose in life.
Hmm.
So, this is kind of the base of my work. Yeah, so what I do with women really is I offer 3-month programs, right, to take them through a journey to be able to step into or to embrace their divine feminine. So, what that really looks like is it looks like finding safety, right? Finding safety within your body, right? And learning how to trust and surrender to life, right? Which is the divine feminine, right? To be playful and soft and vibrant and to be present, right? it's where so many women want to be. They want to have that glow. They want to feel peacefulness within, right? So the
Yeah.
women I work with often are burnt out, they're unfulfilled, they've been functioning in their masculine energy their entire lives, and their life has often been led from by trauma and by wounding. Like you said, like it leads our life, right? And the subconscious guides our life with every choice we make and every relationship we have.
Hmm.
So, oftentimes the women I work with, they're fed up with it, right? And they want to find a new way and they know that they want to find healing. So, similar to my own story, right? Like I've been through it. That's where I was, and then I got where I am. So now I'm like, okay, how can I help women do the same, right? How can
Right.
I help them do that? Now, my programs and like a lot of what I share on social media is to do the healing, to embrace the divine feminine, to then attract divine union with the masculine man, right? Those are
Right.
the women I work with. They're looking for a masculine partner, looking for a masculine partner, but they oftentimes don't realize that first they need to be healed and in their feminine to be able to receive that,
For
right?
sure. For sure. Yeah.
So yeah, we do a lot of heart healing, we do the shadow work. Then we do the empowerment aspect of it where they can build confidence and know that they're worthy of it, right? Have them be in touch with their own purpose so they can fill their own cup and then look for a counterpart who can add to their life versus complete them, right?
Hmm.
With an
Hmm.
open heart to receive them versus getting triggered by their masculinity. So, and then oftentimes that leads to love, that leads to sacred union, and way healthier relationship experiences. And of course, that trickles into everything in their life being improved and transformed, right? So, really the divine feminine, it's just about finally having that peace, that space to breathe, that self-love and acceptance, that glow that you want to have as a woman, that safety and trust and surrender that every woman is seeking.
Hmm.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's such important work, and it's really important, especially at this time, because there's, to me, in my opinion, there's a disbalance, a disharmony in in a lot of different people. It looks different in every person. And I know for myself, it was kind of the opposite, where I had to really learn how the masculine looked like for me, right? Like I had to go into that feminine and like embrace the scarves, and not like in a like super flamboyant way, but like with the sacred sons, we would wear like, really cool clothes with like scarves and stuff, and that was my first like opening to, and be open to that, and be like, oh, okay, these guys are doing it, so it's like accepted, and there was this whole journey for me to go into that space, right? And then like by embracing all the aspects of my feminine side, then from there I was able to look at like my father, for example, and be like, okay, I really didn't like those qualities, but I like those qualities, and then I really like these qualities from my teacher here and my grandpa here, and just like rebuilding what masculinity looked like for myself. And
Yeah.
then from there, that's when it really started to get embodied and actually integrated, because there wasn't any of that shame of like, oh, I don't want to become like my dad in those aspects, or, those kind of things. So
Yeah.
it's a really interesting journey to be part of. It seems like there's a huge empowerment piece, and like stepping into more authenticity, like deeper and deeper authenticity of like who one truly is, and that's so magnetic for people. It's like, okay, that person's able to really be themselves and be real, and people are looking for that now because there's so much fake out there.
Yes. Okay. One thing I love that you brought up was as you were journeying into your masculine energy, one of the first things you did was got in touch with your own feminine energy, right? Because a healthy, integrated masculine man first has to get in touch with his femininity so he has the heart to hold it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's actually similar for a woman. One of the first things we work on when we reach the feminine energy pieces, what is your relationship with your inner masculine,
Right.
right? So we go
Hmm.
and heal the masculine first. What are your beliefs about men, right? How grounded and present are you? Are you going to be strong enough to be able to hold your own feminine?
Hmm.
No way that a woman's going to be able to embody her feminine energy without her own grounding piece of masculinity. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's very similar. It's just a beautiful mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting how it seems like that kind of naturally unfolds for people sometimes, and then other times it's good to have somebody to guide and to share the different stages and the different ways, that somebody can move through it in a because like the way I look at it is like somebody can go through something for 10 years and then be able to consolidate it into something like a program or a course or something like that, and then that person is able to move through it in 6 months or a year, and it's because that person was able to take all that and bring
Yeah.
it in a package to them.
I love that you just said that because yeah, that was kind of my story, right? It took me 10 years to move through all of this, right?
Right.
And now I have a package. I get to go and coach women. And some of these women, 3 months later, they've gone through everything that I mean, wish I would have known in those 10 years. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's a 6 month journey and 9 months, or, we keep going, the healing keeps going. But yeah, if I could do all of this in 1 year or in 3 to 6 months, right, and not have
Yeah.
gone through it in 10 years. So what an honor it is, right? What an
Mhm.
honor it is that I get to be like, hey, I've done this 10 years, I've built this, and now I get to share it with you so you can do it in 3 to 6 months.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's really interesting how that, that's part of it. That's part of why we went through it. I feel like, nobody was there guiding me, and now I can help because now I know what I would have needed to help myself guide at that time, and it's a similar kind of energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's such an honor. There are so many of us out there, myself included, when I first started the journey, that I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. I was totally in it blind, right? And same for you, I'm sure, and so many of us. And the thing is, we just don't know where to start. And we also, oftentimes, we don't believe that it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
right? When these women come to me, they're like, my biggest fear is that this isn't possible for me and nothing's going to change. That's often
Mm.
the biggest fear. They truly believe it's not possible for them, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
that's why so many women don't seek the healing or the guidance or the coaching, right? And it's so unfortunate. So that's why I'm trying to just get my message out there. I'm sure along with yourself and other healers, like we're here to help, right? There's
Right.
hey, let me show you the way.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it brings up the next topic, right? Where it's like it's really important to consciously rewire that belief, right? And because our beliefs shape and create our reality. So if somebody believes that they can't do it, they're not going to do it. So there's different tools to help rewire those beliefs and those programs that a lot of times aren't even ours, right? We didn't choose these programs. They were handed down to us from our ancestors, from our parents, from our grandparents, from, society, from wherever, right? But it is our responsibility to break those and take accountability for, like, because, sometimes people will be like, that's just who I am, take it or leave it, right? And I can't, it's really hard for me to hear that because it's like, okay, that's great. But actually, you can shift that. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how young you are. If you're ready and you want to shift that, it'll shift because you're consciously making that decision to do it, right?
Right, exactly. And now that I'm hearing you say that, there's a level of knowing for these women who do come to me for help, right? Or to go to a healer for help. Because if there wasn't a knowing that, okay, this is possible, like I don't think they would come in the first place, right? Like they're
Right.
ready, like they know, right, that they're meant for more.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, rewriting the lies, right? Is
Hmm.
what I call the activity, right? It's one of the first things we do. Like, okay, let's get real about like all of these beliefs that you have that are holding you back, and let's do the deconditioning. What is actually yours and what isn't? More often than not, this whole persona, all of these beliefs and everything that's holding them back it's absolutely a lie and it came from their parents or society or their ex-boyfriend or whatever, right? And so
Hmm.
it's actually easier than you think. Once you get into the work, you really just go to the root and pinpoint what are all the lies about X, Y, and Z, and what's actually the truth here. What is actually the truth? So we explore that together, and it sounds so simple, but this is when women have the most massive breakthroughs in my program is they're like, "Oh my God, I have been living a lie my entire life that wasn't ever even mine anyway." And then
Exactly.
when that conscious shift happens, I'm sure you know this as a healer and having gone through your own healing, when the consciousness shift happens, everything changes forever,
Hmm.
right? Like
Right.
forever. You will never go back once that
Right.
happens. You have your breakthrough and it's over. So yeah, it's so beautiful to be able to do that. One of the first things we look at, definitely.
Yeah, I always like to say that 90% of the work in something like that, in reprogramming of thought pattern or a belief or a program, is the awareness. So once you become aware of it and it's there, then like releasing it is the easy part, you know?
That's what I tell my clients as well. Like
Hmm.
now that you have the awareness, like it's over. Like, you know what I mean? Now you just have to, do your work to kind of retrain the pattern. But yeah, you'll never go back. That's what it's all about, right? Is it's getting them to the point of breakthrough where they're like, oh my gosh, and the awareness happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that, for most people before the awakening, it's kind of like these programs are just running the show, right? It's like they're on autopilot and there's not really much, the subconscious is kind of just running rampant, right? And then as we become more aware and the subconscious becomes conscious, which is what's happening when you bring that awareness to the program, right?
Yeah.
And then from that space, it's like, okay, now I get to choose, even if I find myself like, oh, I'm going into that right now, right? Like I'm starting that program again. A big one for a lot of people is self-sabotage,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that's a really, I believe people have blind spots, right? Like with the parts of self that people aren't able to see. And someone like a coach or a healer can really show where that blind spot is because we're able to see that, right?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because it's yeah, it just highlights it. And then when it's highlighted, it's like, oh wow, okay, that actually I can see how that's been running my life. Like self-sabotage is a really huge one. And it's something that I had to like really take accountability of in myself in previous relationships in the past, where it's like as soon as something would start to like go a little bit too rocky, a little bit too many triggers or whatnot, there would be this desire to just like run or shut it down, you know? And what most people don't realize that are starting the awakening or haven't awakened yet is that those those programs they're running and wait, I lost my train of thought, but basically that when when we go into that space, right? When we go and like we start self-sabotaging, right? Like when we're able to go back into it and take a look at it, then it can actually start to shift, you know? And something like that is something that's much deeper rooted, right? And then that might take a few times and go arounds. Oh, okay, I remembered my train of thought. So what I didn't know in the beginning was that like it's not going to shift from partner to partner. Even though it's a different person, they're still going to mirror back to me my stuff that I haven't worked through yet. So it makes sense to work through as much as you can with whoever you're with. That way, the next person, if that's not your final person, right? Then the next person will come and they won't have those qualities anymore because you've worked through them in yourself.
Yeah, yeah, beautifully said. Yeah, on that topic, that's what it's all about, right? Everyone who comes into our lives, they're a perfect mirror, right? They take us to where we are going and hopefully prepare us for divine union with our true counterpart, right? That's what it's about. So to know, okay, what's at work here? When is the work done with that person? And
Hmm.
then how am I getting prepared for, the right person for me, right? So to be able to move through that with grace as well. Like if someone came and they taught you so much, they helped you with so much, and they prepared you for what's to come. So trusting that journey, right? Trusting that process. Yeah, relationships are our greatest mirrors. And you said so many good things here. So going back a little bit, one of the things that stood out to me was, yeah, we have blind spots, right?
Hmm.
So what I call that is I call it the smoky mirror, right?
Hmm.
We have smoky mirror. Like when I call my own coach, for example, I'm like, hey, I'm in my smoky mirror, like I need your help. So what does he do? He shows up and he's my perfect mirror and he helps me see what I'm missing.
Hmm.
Changes everything. This is why working with a coach is so effective. And
Hmm.
this is exactly what I do for my clients too, right? They're like, thank you for showing up and for being a mirror for me today because oh my God, I see it all now.
Right. Right.
Right? I see it all. And so yeah, beautifully said. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on um, was the sabotage, right? So, yeah, we go to the root of the sabotage, right? That's so important as coaches because it's like, okay, what's really happening here? Like, why are you actually doing this? What negative emotion are you addicted to, basically,
Hmm.
right? Why
Hmm.
does it keep happening? What are you trying to reaffirm to yourself over and over and over again?
Hmm.
So two things we touch on, right? I won't gatekeep here. This is so good. And people can do this on their own too. Think about the pleasure you're getting from sabotage and the pain you're experiencing from your sabotage,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
What pleasure are you getting from it, right? Where is that coming from, right? What is the need here? And then once you examine the root long enough, you get to the point where, and it's called the pain pleasure principle, right? Where the pain is starting to kind of outweigh the pleasure you get from procrastinating or sabotaging, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's when the pattern shifts for everyone.
Right.
Once they're
Right.
done with their own bullshit, right? Said simply, when they're fed up with their own BS.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. I think you nailed it. I think that when somebody is ready to really look at themselves and say like, "Hey, you know what? Like I'm done procrastinating or I'm done self-sabotaging because it, it's not serving anymore, right?" And maybe it was serving at some point, right? Like maybe it was helping, you know, who knows? There's so many ways that that could have been in service to us at some point, right? But overall, that pain starts to very quickly override it, right? And like it's hard to even like think about any pleasure that I would get from procrastinating or I guess it's like okay I like procrastination the pleasure could be like enjoying a movie for a little bit, but then it's like, what are the repercussions of that, right? Or like for the sabotage, the pleasure could be like that freedom, right? That freedom that you receive when you're out of a relationship, and it's like, okay, now I can do whatever I want again, you know? So it's like there's it's different for every person, but just tuning into that, I think those are maybe a few examples, right?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And more often than not, it has to do with it's safe, right? It's safer,
Hmm.
right? Like if
Well,
we're
the illusion of safety, right?
illusion of safety, that's what I mean. It feels safer to avoid the work that's giving us anxiety or like the task, that needs to be done. It's just it feels safer to procrastinate, right, than to actually face it. Like in a relationship, sometimes when we're operating from wounding, it feels safer to sabotage that relationship than face the fact that we need to grow to be able to be in that relationship,
Right,
right?
right.
It is beautifully said. It's this illusion of safety. So that's the pleasure of it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easier, but then it seems like, from my experience, the universe kind of compounds it, right? It's like, okay, you didn't look at it this time. Let's show you a little bit clearer. Let's like actually throw it in your face this time. Okay, you still are wiping it off. Okay, now we're gonna like put your head in it. Okay, now you're ready to look at it, you know?
I will say that it's easier initially, right?
Right, right.
In the
Yeah.
moment, it's easier. In the long term, wow, way more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better to just I'm the type of mentality where it's like let's face it now, let's move through it, let's like just go for it and not BS and waste our time. You know, let's just get it done.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. And after a certain level of healing, you finally get to that place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where you
Yeah.
start to know, like, this is going to pay off way more if I just wake up, I get my work done, and then I can go and have freedom to do X, Y, and Z. Like it's going to pay off. I won't get that initial like ease. If I face it though, the rest of my day will be beautiful and I won't have to carry the guilt and shame for procrastinating and not getting it done, for example,
Right,
right?
right.
This becomes more empowering to just do it, like you said, to face it and to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. So, I think the next topic I wanted to cover is the tribe that you started, the Crescent Moon Tribe. Can you talk a little bit how that started, what it is, what's the vision with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Crescent Moon Tribe is my brand, right? It's my community. And this community started in 2020, right? Right after COVID hit. So
Hmm.
I was, at home and I had a lot of time to finally start this blog that I was thinking about. It originally started as a blog.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just someone who has so much wisdom to share. And I was like, I really just want to start sharing all this stuff I've been learning, right, with everyone and help people, right? I had this really innate powerful desire to help people. So I started a blog and I'd write articles about, holistic healing and wellness. Like one of the first articles I ever wrote was about self-awareness and
Hmm.
self-discovery, right? And then I got into deeper topics like masculine and feminine energy, sacred sexuality, and all kinds of other things. But it was really just created as a way to like help other people, right? And I love the idea of community. So that's how it started. And in that journey, it kept growing and building. And I would get these amazing emails and comments on the blog and from men and women. And everyone would be like, wow, this is so great. This is changing my life. Thank you so much for everything you're sharing. And it was so rewarding. And I was like, wow, this is my purpose,
Hmm. Hmm.
to do this. Like, I really want to do this. So I started to think about how can I actually do this as a career? Like, how
Hmm.
can I really take this to the next level? And, at the time, I think I was still like studying in school and stuff like that. So I looked up a couple of like master classes, and like free things online. And I was like, what does this look like for people? And started to discover like, yeah, you can find what you're good at or specialize in certain things and then coach other people. Like you can certainly become a coach and work one-on-one and then eventually do group coaching and then have your own program and like, all this stuff while keeping your free blog and while having your community and connecting with your people. And I was like, this is exactly what I want to do.
Hmm.
Like, this is it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, eventually, right, it was a long time coming, but eventually got to the place where I was like, okay, I think I want to go in and I actually want to start coaching one-on-one and like seeing what this looks like. So let me choose one specialty where I can go and do that. And so I actually started coaching human design. When I first started coaching, I was just doing human design sessions.
Mm-hmm.
We're so empowering, right? Because human design is a really powerful self-discovery tool for people who don't know that. It's called the science of differentiation. It really helps you align with your purpose, your strengths, your powers, your needs in your life and in your relationship, and so many beautiful things. And it's just kind of a roadmap, like a blueprint. And
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful to do a session with someone because there's breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough, and they
Mm-hmm.
leave with so much clarity and alignment, so it's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wanted to expand. I was like, just human design isn't enough. Like I want to talk about feminine and masculine energy. I want to help people heal, like what do people need. So started to do more research about around what people actually needed in their journey. And then I started working with the business coach. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to take my entire life experiences and put it into one program and go and be a full-time coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did, and I have a beautiful community still. We're still called the Crescent Moon Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We have a newsletter, and it's just such a beautiful community to be a part of. And the blog is still up, and yeah, so it's been a great.
Cool. I love it. Are you still creating blogs for it?
I'm not actually. There's just kind of a library, like a collection of blogs I created. I'm
Okay.
creating content around the original blog articles still, but
Okay.
yeah, so no longer creating just blog articles though.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I
Yeah.
love it. I love to see how it's evolved because I got to witness it when it was starting and how it's evolved and where it's at now. So it's been really beautiful to witness your journey with that. So it's been really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. I know it's so cool you've been here since the beginning. So
Yeah. Yeah,
love.
it's really neat. I feel like it would be really powerful to talk more about some of the native studies because I didn't even know you were involved with Sundance and Sweat Lodge and things like that. I feel like those aspects are also really powerful to share with people.
Yeah, I thought about that and I was like, maybe I should add more and more to the blog. It's kind of a separate energy than what I share like on social media, right? So, of course, you want to keep things on brand and stuff like that. But yeah, like I've been called lately to share more of my stories. I think you may
Hmm.
have seen that the other day. I was just like, I want to share a story. Like I have so many stories about my spiritual journey or my family, where I come from, all of these things, my own experiences that I know can reach and help other people. So, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's kind of the next level here, just to connect more with the community. So, I'm
For
excited about
sure. Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Well, it's been such an honor to have you on, Adriana. Here it's 4:44. Over there it's 1:44. Both super sacred numbers. And I feel like this is a great time to close out the podcast. It's been such an honor to have you on. You're welcome back anytime. And thank you so much for all the wisdom and all the teachings and all the ways that you show up for the world.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored, honestly. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. Thank you for to everyone who joined us. This has been such a beautiful experience, and you and I just have so much to share. So it's just an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with you. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Until next time, take care.
Bye.